Section 13 of Reclaiming Revolution. History, Summation, and Lessons from the Work of STORM, Standing Together to Organize a Revolutionary Movement. This recording is in the public domain. Recorded by the Progressing America Project. Reclaiming Revolution, Section 13. STORM's structure. STORM's structure was loosely based on a cadre organization model, a traditionally Marxist-Leninist form of organization. A cadre organization is made up of disciplined activists with a high degree of ideological unity, who engage in collective study and political work. Such an organization is intentionally different from more open and mass forms of activist organization, which do not require high standards of discipline or ideological unity. While we believe that mass organizations are necessary to the revolutionary struggle, we wanted to build STORM as a revolutionary cadre organization. Membership requirements. STORM required its members to be disciplined and actively involved in the work of the organization. Each member had to pay $20 per month in dues, participate in at least one work group, adhere to STORM's codes of conduct and security protocols, described below, and regularly attend organizational meetings. General members had to agree with STORM's points of unity. Core members, on the other hand, had to agree with the points of unity and be committed to revolutionary Marxism. This distinction ensured the centrality of red politics in the group while providing space in the general membership for non-communists. It also gave general members an opportunity to learn about Marxist ideas and see them in practice without being required to adhere to them right away. STORM's general membership met twice per month, and the core met an additional 2 times each month. Closed membership. Like most cadre organizations, STORM had a closed membership. A person could not unilaterally decide to join the organization. Instead, STORM invited people to join based on political and practical unity with the organization. New members were brought into the group as a part of a, quote, class, end quote. A class was a group of people who were invited in at the same time and went through a structured, collective orientation. STORM's membership meetings were generally closed to people who were not STORM members. In exceptional moments, the membership could decide to open meetings to others. Our closed membership structure was designed to maintain a high level of group discipline and accountability, to preserve a reasonable level of security, and to give members a structured space for political development. It also ensured consistent participation from members from week to week, unlike RAW, STORM's predecessor. But the most significant reason for STORM's closed membership policy was probably that it allowed us to ensure that women, and people of color, would always be the majority of the organization's membership. STORM had a policy that each incoming class be at least 60% women and at least 75% people of color. The quotas also mandated that women of color be a plurality of each class. The core general split. STORM began as a flat revolutionary collective with no defined political leadership body. But in 1997 we established a core leadership body and a general membership. The most basic division of labor between the core and the general membership was around line and program. The core was charged with developing STORM's line, that is, our analysis, in dialogue with the general membership. The general membership had to develop STORM's program, that is, our practical work. The core was also responsible for ensuring the overall functionality of the organization. It accomplished this task through the coordinating committee. Made up of 4 core members, the coordinating committee was responsible for setting meeting agendas and ensuring the general functionality of the group. The composition of STORM's original core was based on seniority in the organization. All members who were in the organizations before 1998 became core members. Those who joined later joined as general members. The core was self-selecting, choosing new core members based on their political development and leadership skills. We chose not to have elections to the core in order to maintain its political coherence and functionality. Codes of conduct and security protocols. Storm's codes of conduct and security protocols gave us a shared understanding of how we should conduct ourselves as revolutionaries. They developed out of our studies of movement history and out of members' years of experience as activists and organizers, where we had seen unhealthy and unprincipled interactions undermine political work. Trying to conduct ourselves in accordance with these guidelines was a new experience for many of us. It felt strange at first, but it ultimately proved to be helpful to our organizational culture and effectiveness. Beyond the specific codes, the practice of, quote, revolutionary discipline, end quote, the idea that we were expected to be accountable to the collective, was important in our development as revolutionaries. Codes of conduct. Storm had codes of conduct in order to promote revolutionary discipline and to ensure that our day-to-day practice served the best interests of the organization and the movement. The codes of conduct governed how we were to treat each other as comrades in the struggle. Members were required to 1. Put the organization's decisions before our own personal inclinations. 2. To raise problems directly with each other instead of shit-talking. 3. To be constructive in our criticisms instead of tearing each other down. 4. To be respectful with each other and fair in our evaluations of each other. We were expected not to use degrading or oppressive language, or use alcohol or drugs while engaged in organizational work. We were also expected to use special care and consideration in romantic relationships with other comrades. Security protocols. Storm also had 8 security protocols to help members resist attempted disruption of our political work by the state or other forces. Members were expected to share information about the organization on a need-to-know basis only. For instance, we did not give out lists of our members' names or other organizational details. We did not want the government to be able to get such information easily. We were expected to be cautious about our communication. We were to avoid talking about sensitive information on easily surveilled means of communication, such as phones or email. We were also discouraged from discussing any kind of illegal or criminal activity, even as a joke. Members were expected not to engage in reckless political activities that could endanger the group or themselves. We were to stay in communication with the group if suspicious incidents occurred that could indicate surveillance or disruption. Work groups. Storm members were expected to be active in at least one of the organization's work groups. Work groups were spaces for Storm members working in similar fields to discuss their on-the-ground work and provide each other with support and feedback. They reflected the sectors of movement work in which members were already engaged: worker organizing, youth organizing, cultural work, and theory development. In work group sessions, members could discuss how they were carrying out Storm's general strategy of promoting revolutionary ideas and building revolutionary people's power in our mass work. In all of our mass work, Storm members were encouraged to prioritize 3 tasks. 1. Build the capacity of these key sectors of the mass movement. 2. Build the revolutionary leadership of working-class women of color in those sectors. And 3. Facilitate movement and organizational leaders in their development as revolutionaries, so that they would be prepared to help advance the struggle from a resistance phase to a revolutionary one. Storm also had a political education committee, which we called 411. 411 was made up of both core and general members. Political education took place in each meeting and through periodic mandatory weekend training intensives. This committee was also in charge of orienting new members to the organization. Decision making. Storm made organizational decisions using a modified consensus process designed to draw out as much discussion as possible and to achieve a high degree of unity on all decisions. End of section 13.